Hello and welcome to Funny Science Fiction, the live edition. Hey, welcome to Funny Science Fiction, our Monday night live edition. We're so glad to have everyone here. And just as a quick reminder before we get started, if you're watching on Facebook, please allow StreamYard access to your information if you're going to comment or if you're going to want to ask a question of Nick, Kathleen, or myself, or our guests when they come in. We're going to have a great discussion tonight about Loki, and we want to make sure that we're talking to you, not just Facebook user.
But we love Facebook user.
Well, maybe. So depends on who the Facebook user is.
What if they don't want us to know who they are?
Well, I blame Watts for that. So
well, he's obvious who he is.
Yeah, I know, but still, I'm going to blame him anyway. All right, so Funny Science Fiction Podcast, the podcast where hosts know that they shouldn't cross the streams, but we still kind of want to throw caution to the wind, you know, see what happens.
Are we going to add an electric fence to that equation?
That's a different type of crossing the streams, Nick. I don't think that that's what Ghostbusters had in mind when that comment was made.
See caution and I laugh.
Oh, let's see. Oh, I got to reconnect to Twitter because technology is a wonderful thing. I have to like reaffirm my love for Twitter once every week or two. But real quick, I have a question, Tim. Do you have enough Funko Pops yet? Never. I do not own them all. Fred says, I am here, kinda. Well, we appreciate you kind of being here, Fred. All right. But before we get started, I'm saying somebody else's lines because I'm not thinking, but there's somebody's lines in blue that somebody else should be saying.
I'm not.
Before we get into that show, let's say thanks to our show's partners, River City Tees and Level Up Lightsabers.
All right, River City Tees, here we go. With over 700 designs to choose from, River City Tees has something for everyone. Need some new nerd merch? River City Tees has you covered. Need funny or sarcastic designs? River City Tees has you covered. Are you looking for a new logo or custom design? Whether you need 1 or 100, River City Tees has you covered. With multiple colors and options for each and every design. With things to choose from like shirts, hoodies, phone cases, coffee mugs, and so much more. Be sure to follow River City Tees on Facebook and Instagram. If you do, you'll get the latest on designs and information about upcoming sales. River City Tees. Let's make a shirt together.
You stole my line.
Who?
I did. I get all talky and I don't think about whose lines I'm stepping on.
Jeesh. Well, that was one of our show sponsors. That was River City Tees. Our other show sponsor is Level Up Lightsabers. Let's watch that awesome video.
I ordered mine the other day.
Oh, I'm only a little jealous. All right.
I keep saying this like every week. I'm getting one soon, but I really do mean it.
But then you keep buying Funko Pops and you can't afford yourself a lightsaber.
For 5 payments of 5 Funko Pops.
Look, I only got 6. I only got 6 of them in the mail today.
And you have how many more coming?
9, but that's not the point.
What is the point, Tim?
It's not an addiction. I can quit anytime I want.
You just don't want to.
I just don't want to.
All right. Let's
kind of like my Funko Pops. Thank you very much.
Before we spiral too far, let's give a warm welcome to Mark and Devin from the Fandom Effect. They can also give Tim crap about his Funko Pop addiction.
Hey. I just bought one yesterday, so I feel attacked.
Ooh, what'd you get?
The Barnes & Noble Phoenix Iki exclusive, because I love Saint Seiya anime, and so I wanted to grab that one.
Okay.
I have 3 Funkos, and I will continue to give Tim crap about them. But
I only
It's
have
okay.
like 10. I don't have
see,
that many.
and what really, really bothers Tim, and I love that this bothers Tim so much, is that he's out of the box.
Actually, no, it doesn't bother me. It would bother me if mine were out of the box. You could destroy the value of yours however you like.
Well, I mean, okay, so I got it on Clearance FYE anyway because the box was trashed.
Well, if the box is trash, then you don't have an option.
Right?
Tim, I
have some.
have 23 of them, and they're all out of the box.
I only have a few out of the box. That's because my three-year-old took a shining to my Mystery Science 3-seater 3000 ones, because the 2 Crow and Servo, the 2 robots. So
Aha.
those are out of the box.
I mean, my
Hello,
other
Jason
2
Taylor.
My other 2 are in the box and will stay in the box. It's 2 Critical Role ones. So,
Noise.
yeah, Grog and Vex will stay in their boxes. But
But
So
yeah, I actually have all 5 Bob Ross Funko Pops.
Nice.
And getting ready to order all the Letterkenny ones.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Still got to watch the last season.
So Jason Taylor says that most of his are out of the box, and I annoy my daughter with them. And John Wass says this is Kathleen's husband, who we just simply call
what?
Wass.
Am I claiming him tonight?
Well, I'm not. You have to. You have the same last name. Funko Pops are the modern Beanie Babies.
That's right. And I got the Princess Diana.
No, there
And
will
they
not be
really-
an
they
Alter
really
Bridge chat or a Creed chat tonight, Jason. That's another podcast, another time.
That's
So-
yeah.
Wait, the
So, yeah.
arms aren't wide open today?
No, mine were completely wide open.
Just not
So-
for you.
Just not for Jason.
Wow.
But yeah, so the ones I put up on the shelf today, I had 2 from the Wonder Woman movie, Antiope and oh goodness, what is it? Etta Candy. Yeah, and then I've been collecting the Lucha Libre Matador version Funko Pops of the Marvel Universe. And today I got Wolverine and Iron Man's version. Tomorrow, Loki and the Hulk will be here, and that will complete that first part of the first part of the collection, because Loki's the very first one out of the second set that they're releasing of the Lucha Libres. I can't see what Kathleen's holding up because my screen's too small. Loki, we're getting there, Chesapeake. Just
I can't.
But
She's
the
a
real
little-
question is, have you
It's-
seen the black light Funko Pops they got out?
yeah.
Yeah,
And
there's some
the-
interesting ones. Yeah,
Yes, there's
Ones
Those
that-
are awesome.
Supposedly the one I just got glows in the dark, but I've yet to test it.
Yeah, I got a Johnny Storm one that's supposed to glow in the dark, but I haven't tried it yet. So, but I will shortly. So, mainly because they're here in my office, and this is not at my house, so I'm not usually here at night. Well, most nights.
He's in an undisclosed location.
Exactly. All right. Before my co-host explodes into a million little girl bits, and with red hair and cat whiskers everywhere.
It's blonde again.
Well, in theory. So.
Half of it's blonde anyway.
So we're going to get to Loki in just a moment. But before we do that, I'd like to take a quick moment. Like we said, you guys are from the Fandom Effect. Tell us a little bit about your show, what you guys talk about over there, and why people should go check out your show as well.
Yeah, so the Fandom Effect, the main kind of idea behind it is we realized there was like I mean, obviously you guys know a ton of different fandoms and people like different things and kind of all over, and that both of us were kind of all over the board with stuff that we were into, like from wrestling to video games to, the occasional anime or whatever. And we had talks with friends in the past that said they wish they knew certain people that were into things, and they got turned off from certain fandoms or certain things, like whether it be Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, because they didn't know anybody, they didn't know where to go, they didn't know how to find anybody. So we figured we could start a podcast where we could try to bring different fandoms. So like people who really want to get into something but have no idea where to start, have kind of a place they can kind of go to and find like-minded people. And
nice.
And I brought Devin on, which is led to a downturn and many things.
For those who had listened to our latest bonus episode with Tim, I actually get paid in dog treats. So that's a plus for me. Mark slips my pills into them without me noticing.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta, yeah.
Keep
He's
me
gotta get his
very
medicine,
calm and
you know?
relaxed throughout the whole thing.
You need
And,
medicine.
you know, we also go into some other deep talks, you know, like we get into the wild world of TikToks and grass cutting and, you know, all the other fandoms that are out there, like gardening and crocheting. And, you know, eventually we just like to hit on all networks of fandom.
Yeah,
All right.
we just try to dive into stuff that people care about, but then try to shine a light on things to help out, you know, help other people maybe find something that they're passionate about and, you know, something that maybe they didn't know about before. So it's kind of the main goal.
Have you
All right.
actually talked about crocheting on a podcast?
No.
Because that would be awesome.
No, we always joke about how we're going to hit every fandom and eventually we're going to get to crocheting and knitting.
Eventually we plan on just trying to delve into like just really obscure things just for the sake of what can we find out about stuff. But I think the farthest that we really reached out to so far is we had an interview with a paranormal investigator. And I talked to her about what it's like to go to like these abandoned places and hunt for ghosts and stuff.
Okay.
Interesting.
But next week they are doing a special on underwater basket weaving, so I'm looking forward
It's true.
to that.
Yeah. But that's a skill, you know, and a hobby. So there's there's a lot of things there.
The best part is it's actually going to be videoed, so Mark is going in person to learn how to do it.
Nice.
It's true.
All right. All right. So where can people find out more about your show? Where can they look you up at?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Solid answer. That's my favorite.
The main stuff is Facebook and Twitter that we'll respond to the most. And both of them are just at Fandom Effect, so you can find it pretty simple. And then every major podcasting, you know, platform, Apple, Spotify, the whole 9 yards.
All right, cool.
We're also so recently I started putting out when we do our videos. I recently started showing them on my Twitch channel as well. So we have both our Twitch channels. Mark's is Bushido Geek, and mine is Dreamy Kong. We both put them on our Twitch channel so people can watch them and check out videos, even if and like and subscribe there as well. So we're trying to hit every major platform that the video could be watched on. Eventually.
Nice. All right, cool beans. All right, the time has come. Kathleen has been very patient, mostly.
Okay.
So let's talk about Loki, the show on Disney Plus. Now, I am, for one, Loki's one of my more favorite characters, and so I was really kind of excited to have him get his own show and be able to do his own thing out there. So what have been your guys' reactions so far to the show, Loki? What are your thoughts and feelings on it up to this point?
I love it.
It's been really good. I mean, I like the kind of direction they're taking with it, you know, versus like kind of just like if you take the, you know, WandaVision being a kind of a continuation of their story and Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier being kind of a continuation of like what they're going on with, like Loki's is more of like, it's not really a continuation because you didn't know what was going to happen with him.
Right.
So I'm glad they like the route that they take is very interesting. It's very reminiscent of like, I mean, I hate to compare it to like DC, like Rip Hunter stuff, but it's got like a very Legends of Tomorrow-esque kind of feel to it, which is my favorite DC show right now. So that's, to me, that's like the dots that really connect.
Well, I can't even argue or complain with that. That's a pretty good analogy.
Yeah. I definitely, as like the, I like that in the very first episode, they straight up started it off from Endgame and kind of like played right into it. And so you never really lose a step, essentially. And another thing that I just love is just the way that they perceive this whole universe, kind of dive more deep into it and reflect on some of the movies to the point where you know that this is building up for their next set of films more than where WandaVision was kind of like a slow burning, and then you have like the end of it. Then you have Winter Soldier and Captain America, that kind of, or Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of built up, and then it just slow burned at the end. And then, so this one's like, no, we're going to give you everything that you're going to need for this next set of movies, because guess what? This is going to show you the next big bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
You know he's coming, and the thing is I'm one of those guys that just love to go, okay, I watched the episode, now I gotta go to the internet and watch all this other crap.
Right.
So
I want to see what everybody else thinks about this.
Yeah. Yeah, I do the same thing actually, Devin. As soon as the episode is over, I go out and because I have my own thoughts and ideas about the episode, but I want to see what other people caught. I also every week make the habit of giving it a couple hours, going out and watching Screen Crush. And Screen Crush, Ryan Airy, we've had him on the show a couple times. He's a really cool dude. But they do Easter eggs every week of what things that have been showing up on screen, and he'll tell you how many Easter eggs there were found in that week's episode, and what to look forward to, and what this means from this episode and that. And so it's kind of helps fill in the blanks a little bit.
Yeah,
I love the retro vibe of the Time Agency too. Like the Cold War-esque feel to it.
Yeah, very Fallout.
Yes, it is. It is that Fallout, like that weird retro vibe, but when with the rotary phones, and I'm like, oh my gosh, seriously, rotary phones, guys? Like, you are calling that there is an emergency happening, and you're using a rotary?
Yeah, like they technically have access to all technology, but they're choosing to use like this retro, severely outdated technology.
And the whatever the clocks, I don't remember what the little clock person's name is.
Yeah.
Like, she cracks me up. And are you a recording or are you live? And she's like, well, kind of both. And it's like, what are you?
I like how they have like the retro thing, but a high-tech version of the retro thing.
Yeah.
I like that they like put when you bring on the Easter egg things, that there are things throughout the show that still bring them to date. So, for instance, whenever you see Owen Wilson's character, he's drinking that same pop, but that pop is from the 1990s.
Yeah, because he's kind of obsessed with that era, which I'm assuming that. Yeah, I'm assuming something is going to be revealed with him, and I feel like there's too many references to him in the 90s.
Captain Marvel.
I was going to say that's the Captain Marvel era, which
which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean that's when her movie technically took place, right? So
which is just weird that's now classified as a period piece. That the 90s are a period. That's weird.
Yeah, not talk about that.
Yeah,
talk about a 90s baby here. I can't help it.
That's painful.
Right, me too.
So, but yeah, it's. There's a lot, like you guys bring up the Easter eggs and stuff, and it's crazy to see how many there truly are, because when you go on these websites and see, like, oh, but did you catch this? And you're like, damn it, I didn't. Like, that is so awesome.
Cool. Sometimes it's like it's like the most random, obscure reference to like a random comic book issue, or like some subtle reference to like a war that took. Like, it's crazy how they find ways to sneak in the most interesting things.
And I thought it was interesting too that the one desk worker doesn't know what a fish is.
Yeah, like because they were like just created in this bubble.
Yeah, that he's spent his whole life at his job, and then what was the other one? The drawer full of Infinity Stones. But they use them as
paperweights. Yeah, paperweights. Because they don't work. So they're just...
some guys use them as paperweights. I laughed out loud with that. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Like,
so let me ask you, did you know that it was a female before they showed her?
Yes. I did.
About the variant?
Yes.
No, I had no clue. Okay,
had a feeling because of when they showed all the different variants, and they were like, you saw like him with like a big arm, and he's like muscular and stuff, and then you show him like, with short hair and stuff, like they showed all the different versions. I was like, this one's got to be a female, because that's why they can't find him and track him down, because they're thinking they're looking for a guy that's not a female.
Yeah, I thought that too.
I want to say that I didn't think that far ahead of it or that well on it, because I had honestly forgotten that in the comic books that Loki had dual gender at times, and that there were times where he was a female and there was times where he was male, and
there was times he was a horse.
Yeah, and so I didn't even think about that. That the variant could actually be a female, and so when the variant came out as a female, I was like, well, that's not Loki. And then it hit me a couple minutes later. I was like, oh man. So
yes, it is.
I thought it could have. I mean, obviously, like they showed it already, but I thought it could have been cool to actually see like the Frost like giant version of him a little bit. It would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the couple of times that they showed the variant just in silhouette with the cape, and I'm like, that's a girl. I can tell by the way that person's walking.
Yeah, it was definitely not going to be like just him. Like there was definitely going to be something different about it, just because they kept it so well hidden with everything.
There's one other thing too, is that there are rumors out there that it's not actually Loki, but it's Enchantress as well. So there's like, there's that theory that's behind it, which is crazy to me, but I still think it's a cool aspect.
But it's Marvel, so who knows what they're gonna throw at us?
Oh, Disney!
Because there's gonna be stuff with them, like obviously something shady with the Timekeepers. I mean, it's like,
and the fact that the Timekeepers
Marvel.
are lizards. They're lizard people. Of course, we're being controlled by lizard people.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, dive into the. There's like secretly a subterranean race of lizard people controlling everything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so take a quick peek at this. This is just a quick Google search. So, I mean, it's not that far off, and it would actually tie in kind of well.
Yeah.
I mean, we go to that picture there.
I mean, it would work
because she's part of she has like backstory with Loki in the comics,
right?
And she's from Asgard, so
yeah,
that's where they're tying it all in. And
yeah,
I'm actually eager to see that if she is or not, because in my head, for some reason, I'm getting this weird visualization that Marvel's not setting up for just like a Thanos. They're setting up for like a group of people, and they're going to have this group of people together, and that's going to be like Enchantress. You're going to have the witch from WandaVision.
Agatha.
Harkness?
Harkness is going to be in it. Then they're going to have the secret, I think they call him Secret Agent is what the Captain America changeover is.
Oh, U.S. Agent?
U.S.
Agent.
Yeah.
So like it's going to be those three. You're going to have those. And then like I just, in my gut, Kang the Conqueror is coming out. They're going to bring him to life. And there's no doubt about it.
He's going to be in Ant-Man 3.
Yeah, he's the main villain for
he's the big bad in Ant-Man 3. So
which is going to be hilarious to watch Paul Rudd go up against.
Paul
Rudd.
Anything Paul Rudd? Yes, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'll sign that dotted line instantly.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So speaking of King the Conqueror and Ant-Man 3, there's thought that somehow this all ties back in with Loki, and this is one of the theories that I actually wanted to discuss with you guys. Because of these images that came out. Now, most people have already seen these. So this is a picture of the TVA, what we see of the Time Variant Authority, as Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, Mobius and Loki walk out to the deck. They look out. This is what they see for the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everybody sees that, and they're like, oh, hey, check out how cool that is. That looks really cool. And then what people are comparing that to is a scene from Ant-Man and the Wasp, where this is seen in the quantum realm. And so now the theory is that, and here's where the theory comes in. People are saying that the TVA exists in the quantum realm.
I mean, that would, yeah.
And the reason they're saying that is that there's a couple different things. So when the Ant-Man was in there and everything, and Janet Van Dyke was in there, what the comment that they said, they didn't know how long they were in there because time moved differently. And what's the first thing Owen Wilson says to, Mobius says to Loki's character when he asks him how long he's been working for the TVA? I don't really know. Time works differently here. Yeah, time works differently here. So there's a big theory going on right now that people believe that there's going to be a tie-in from Loki to Ant-Man 3, and that's how we're going to get Loki fighting up against Kang as well.
So
Anything that brings us more Loki, I'm okay with.
So
Yeah,
King,
I mean-
King the Conqueror is one of the 3 timekeepers.
And there's that too.
That's in his backstory. And the thing is that when they brought this to life, it was like totally made sense because it was like you guys said, Owen Wilson said he doesn't know how time doesn't really work the same there. And in the quantum realm, they were gone for 5 years, and Paul Rudd said, "No, it's gone for 5 minutes." What are you talking about?
Right.
So that totally like spans out and makes sense because they would have stuck somebody like King the Conqueror. He would have been stuck in the quantum realm to make sure he never escaped.
Right.
So
Now, there's also thought that Loki's going to tie back into WandaVision, and with a tie-in to Ant-Man 3 as well, because King the Conqueror is a Nexus being. Wanda is a Nexus being.
Also,
Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say in the second episode, we saw Agatha before she was Agatha or not, but
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I didn't mean to train your thought.
No, you're fine. No, but
I'm sorry, Tim. Can you elaborate on that, Nick?
So when they went back to Pompeii, the person who played Agatha had a brief little line with them. We don't know, that was it, and then they just kind of moved past her, but she was there.
Oh, I didn't recognize her at first then because I must have been just watching it zoned out a little bit and then just was like.
I just had the weirdest before it was just me when they were talking about going to an event. I'm like $10, it's Pompeii, and then they go to the thing. It was Pompeii, and I felt really happy. It was my personal nerd moment. You're like nailed it. Knew that was gonna happen.
That's a check on the board.
And I got distracted when they were in Pompeii because my husband's like, I wonder if the doctor's there. I'm like, different universe. Stop confusing me.
No, it's not. It's
different universe. Pompeii.
All the universes. And that's the thing is that they even mentioned that in Doctor Who that Pompeii is one of those events you can't change.
Yeah.
So it is in every universe.
Okay.
Back to you, Tim.
Really? Doctor Who and Pompeii? Yes.
Back to you, Tim.
No, that's fine. So they're saying that because, and then also in WandaVision there was the pseudo commercial about the Nexus medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're using all of that to kind of tie everything together, that there's going to be a tie in between Loki, WandaVision, and Ant-Man 3. So there could be some really cool things coming up in the MCU future. If that theory is correct. I think that's always the big if.
Yeah, because it's always because that's the thing we haven't seen yet is Marvel willing to connect their TV shows to the movies?
Right.
And obviously it makes sense to do that, but we haven't seen it yet, so it's hard to put stock in it when you don't know. Do they want to keep them separate? Do they, want to bring them together? I mean, it's going to depend.
I just have a strong feeling that they're going to wrap it all up because they have to start putting out these movies now. They have, was it July 9th or something like that?
That's Black Widow.
That's Black Widow's. And that's supposed to start the new round, isn't it? Where everything starts
stage 4.
Yeah, where it starts rolling together because you got Spider-Man's going to start coming up quickly, and everybody knows there's going to be multiple different worlds going on in there. There's just random things that are going to start occurring that just start tying stuff together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know. I think that there's going to be a tie-in. They've always done a little bit of tie-in between their TV shows. I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter. There were subtle tie-ins there between the two, but nothing hard and fast where there was a definite, this was what the TV show did, and we're going to pick up from that TV show and move forward. But I think that these shows are different. I think that because they're actually using people from the movies in these little mini series shows, I think that they're using these as launching pads to set up the next section. So I think we're going to see a lot more of not only these characters, but also on how they move into the movies as well. I think there's going to be a definite tie-in.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you feel like at some point they're going to want to connect everything to at least, maybe not like completely, but at least some sort of reference to like the movies coming up, like some sort of tie-in to where you finish the show and then it gets you to want to watch the movie coming out next month or whatever because the character makes a reference to something in the movie. Like it does give them an opportunity to like provide additional teasers without really having to put any marketing into it because you've already got the built-in audience that's going to be watching it.
Right. It is. I think that their TV shows are kind of an extension of their mid-credit scenes. Like, I feel like that's where we're doing these teasers in mid-credit scenes for 30 seconds to a minute. We can make 9 episode long teasers to keep your
interest. Yeah.
Yeah. To keep your interest. I mean, they're keeping us hungry for more Marvel between Marvel movies.
And yes, Waz, I do believe that we need to have the movie still with the Disney Plus series, only because you get a bigger budget, so naturally you can have a better storyline to go along with. It's kind of like having like that. I can't even say like the Game of Thrones epic finale because that was just horrible.
That was not an epic finale. That was.
I know, but it's like having Sopranos. There we go, better one. So it's like having like you have that long series. You have those couple series going, but then you have the big boom at the end. That's just kind of like, this is actually why we did everything that we did. Like this has to be said for this. And so I believe that the movies are all gonna eventually, everything's gonna start pulling together because you have so many time and world based movies coming up with Spider-Man, Doctor Strange.
They need Ant-Man. They need these shows to act like laces and tie everything together.
And then extending into the multiverse too. I mean, you've got access to all of them. Why not use all of them?
So
plus there's a lot of people that aren't going to spend money on Disney Plus just out of principle, just for not wanting to pay for our streaming service. So you're going to get people who just go to movies. Like without doing both, you'd miss out on a lot if Disney just decided to put everything on Disney Plus. They would lose out on a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. So who else thinks, by the way, that having watched the last couple episodes of Loki, that with the variant doing what she did, that was where they set off the multiverse?
Oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. That would be where it came from. I had not thought of that.
Because so if you look at the TVA's timeline, it was straight, and then she set that off to reset it, and then boom, spiderwebbed everywhere. And there's just little lines going everywhere. So now they have multiverses that need to be fixed.
Yeah.
You think that's where it comes in?
And it's possible, but I'm also wondering, like, so this is just me trying to connect the dots. So when she steals the reset device, even though she brings it to a new location, is the reset device still set for whatever it was supposed to reset to begin with?
Well, we would have to know if the reset device is designed only for that time period,
right?
Or is it just a generic device that works wherever it's at?
I feel like it was just like a generic device that works.
That might help. That might, if it's just a generic thing, I don't think it would be enough to start a multiverse, because even though small decisions can branch out and affect everything, I feel like for something to say like this is the thing that set off the multiverse, it would need to be changing like drastic events to then change, like, you know what I mean? Like changing Pompeii, where you warn the city and you stop the volcano, or,
right,
you evacuate all the people, like cataclysmic changes versus like, hey, we left the dead body here versus we used the reset device
that she was hiding in apocalypses though. So maybe
that, yeah. But it's like, is she hiding them just because of what they said, or because she has some other plan to? I think it's possible. I just feel like it would need to be bigger. I feel like you changing a slight thing for the multiverse isn't enough to really explain. Like, yeah, the multiverse where where people are serial killers instead of heroes, and
right,
like Hulk is just a bloodthirsty beast the entire time. Like, I don't feel like you could explain drastic changes of a multiverse just because she set off a couple of reset devices.
One thing I do want to state too is that Marvel's great doing this multiverse thing, but in the comics, DC did it first.
Oh yeah,
Just gotta flex that one
That's
one
fine.
time because me and Mark are big DC fans, and we just have to state that ahead of time.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I think it's also.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say I think it's also a way for them to step away from the comic books in a way, and they can start telling a new story instead of always referring back to the comics. And
like they can have comics follow their story versus having to have their stuff always follow a comic. They can kind of get out ahead of it and kind of like see what they want it to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think there's a lot of cool things coming up, and I think we have an opportunity to see how this is all gonna tie in together. So, any predictions as to where you're hoping this is going? I know we've kind of touched on them a little bit, but are there any direct predictions that I think that this is going to be this, I think this is going to be that type of thing? And Drayton wants it to tie into Howard the Duck.
Oh, of course he does.
I know because Howard the Duck's voice in the Marvel movies was done by Seth Green, and I absolutely hate Seth Green. So
understandable.
I can't say there's anything that like I want it to happen, or like I need this to happen, or need that to happen, or something like that. Just because they're taking it such a different direction, I'm more just interested to see what they're going with it. But I do feel that they're like Devin pointed out all the stuff with the 90s. I do feel that like in addition to like Captain Marvel, that there is something shady about with the timekeepers. Like, oh yeah, we were all created here. We don't know how things work, but like this one guy has a fascination with a set period of time. So my theory is that the timekeepers, whoever it is plucking people out of the timeline who they can decree as having like little to no impact on the timeline, wiping their memories and then making them think that they've been there their entire lives. They were created here. And everything, and like he's gonna find out, like somehow he's gonna find out from like snooping, like maybe he goes to like his friend's office or whatever and finds out that like some sort of secret information. But that's my theory, is that Mobius is gonna find out that the timekeepers are kidnapping people to work for them out of time.
That actually would make a lot of sense.
Okay, everybody hold on to your seats because this one's going to get wild. This is why Mark brings me on to shows and then fires me instantly afterwards, because these get
coming in hot.
All right, so we automatically have already talked about the tree branching situation. So what's going to happen is we have a new Thor dropping. So somehow Loki is going to be brought back to Asgard. He's going to join up with Thor, and that's going to kind of set up Love and Thunder. And that's why we have a female Thor played by Natalie Portman, is because we have a female Loki, and I feel like they're going to kind of like play off of that kind of situation. But it's also setting up the multiverse, which is dealt with Doctor Strange and Wanda Maximoff, because he's going to notice that the worlds have all changed and have spread out, so he has to fix that because that's part of their jobs, and that's where they're going to start to battle. Kang the Conqueror is going to be inside that one. Even though we have the quantum realm coming up with Ant-Man and Wasp, that's how Doctor Strange is going to learn about it and help figure out a way to get to it, is because they're going to pull in Ant-Man to kind of work with him and go into the quantum realm and learn more about it. And while all this is happening, we're going to have that big team of people being built by the bad guys. So then it sets up the next Avengers movie eventually. And that's why they haven't officially announced an Avengers movie yet, because they can't.
They got to set it up.
They got to set it up first, and they have to keep it under wraps, because if somebody just says, oh, we got another Avengers movie, you instantly know, like, okay, there's going to be a big team battle up. And it's just going to flatten everybody's, parade. So, because you have things like Fantastic Four, She-Hulk, all these new characters that are coming out that you just cannot just flatten the line out and be like, oh, we got another Avengers movie, because then everybody's just going to be like, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah, and then Moon Knight 2.
Yeah.
Which will be a brand new thing.
I'm excited for Moon Knight.
Yeah, so am I. I love the character. Me and Devin both have talked about like how fascinating we find Moon Knight.
He's
And-
Marvel's Batman, in my opinion.
Yeah,
He's a schizophrenic Batman. It's amazing.
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Drayton says, never trust cosmic lizards that communicate with 50 Styles driving cartoons. Just saying.
I mean, yeah.
Let's
wrong.
go to the movies.
He's not
Yeah,
wrong.
let's go to the movies. Oh Jesus. Yeah. I'm more interested to see like eventually I feel I'm wondering who the first person is going to be that like goes to like, you know, like Doctor Strange, he like does his magic to like read the forbidden text and all that. And
Mhm.
the timekeepers mentioned that like the creation of the timekeepers and all that stuff is like under lock and key and it's considered classified. So obviously someone at some point is going to read it. I mean, that's like the default of Marvel
Right.
saying something like that, is that someone eventually is going to get too curious and just read it. The question is it going to be like Loki coming back, Mobius, or
Deadpool.
yeah, or yeah, Deadpool just shows up and reads it and then
He just
tells
randomly
everyone.
walks in and is like, "Oops." Right? Just-
I think I could see more Mobius doing it than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like event. I'm curious too to see what lore Marvel is going to put behind the creation of everything. Like, are they going to, how far are they going to stick to exactly what they're doing? Or like Nick said, are they going to try to put their own twist on it a little bit to differentiate themselves from what's already been told to try to, you know, kind of create their own universe a little bit?
I'm hoping they put their own twist. I mean, I like it when there's something new, they put a new spin on things and it's not the same old kind of played out type of. And there's so many superhero and sci-fi tropes that can get reused over and over again, but it's nice when they take that and they put just a little bit of a spin on it, you know, a little English on it, make it something different. So I'm hoping that's what they do.
Yeah.
So
I would
that's-
imagine they will. Like, I wouldn't think that you're going to stick to, it seems like Marvel's been more willing to lately kind of like take their own twist on things and change things around.
Okay. Very cool. All right. So I think we've covered Loki pretty well here tonight. Probably our longest chat about Loki thus far in the
Because
lives this year.
Our chats so far have been, we should talk about Loki. We only have 2 minutes left.
Well, that's why we put him to the front of the show this time, because I think otherwise you're going to explode one of these times.
Yep.
And
You're
we're
like sitting
gonna explode. Don't tell me when.
Explode.
She was
There
she was
are
like
not
sitting there
enough
last week like,
tacos to get me not
I need
to
to talk about
explode.
Loki. So, yeah. So anyway, all right. So now let's move over to another Disney Plus show. Let's talk a little Bad Batch.
Because Disney is our master.
It's Disney Plus
mean,
is
it
quickly
is.
becoming the reason why I'll be willing to pay whatever they ask every month. I don't care. Between the content of the movies and what they're putting out, you know, for stuff that you know, so you don't. I mean, the fact that I can sit down with Disney Plus and watch every single Star Wars movie is a beautiful thing. Everything from the Marvel universe, except for the sucky Fox and Sony stuff.
Well, yeah.
Except for the newer stuff. Actually, you know, I do enjoy the newer stuff from. I'm really excitedly nervous about Venom, Carnage.
I still haven't seen the first Venom. I just for some reason it's kind of kept eluding me. So I'll
I actually
at this
really
point, I'll
enjoy
wait
it.
until the second one comes out.
I actually really enjoy Venom. I think it's a pretty good movie. There's of course a few you can always look at it and go, oh, yeah, there's this wrong with it, there's that wrong with it. That's going to happen in almost any,
Anything. Ever.
But hold on, we got a little bit of conversation here. How similar are these mini Disney series like the old movie serials that used to show each week at the movies back in the day?
I don't know
Sure.
because none of us are old enough for that.
Those were things. Yeah, that was the thing, right? Things.
Apparently, your husband is old enough to remember them.
Were
Juan
they
says
in color yet?
remarkably
things.
similar at Drayton Allen. So, well, that's good.
I'll contact the TVA and we can all take a trip.
I'll go down to the
back.
old swimming hole and figure it out.
Whistle while you walk there.
I'm gonna go to the movie show. Sorry.
All right, so for a couple minutes, let's talk Bad Batch. What do you guys think of Bad Batch so far? What have been your impressions thus far, even if you're not completely caught up?
Biggest thing I miss is the guy in the beginning doing the intros. I have to say it. I mean,
Yeah.
I know he does it for the first episode and then it drops off. I really miss that because I felt like it was such a cool little way to start each episode of Clone Wars. But I love Bad Batch. I've been waiting for another animated series since Clone Wars ended for a long time, so I'm excited from that sense. I love that they decided to put it like right after Order 66.
Yeah.
Like immediately after. I thought that was such a nice little touch. Not saying like, oh, it's been a little while. Like, no, they're literally like, no, it's as it's happening. They're being affected by it. So it's a real nice touch.
Yeah, the right then, right there, you get the feel of immediacy that this is when it's happening, how it's happening.
And I don't know if it'll happen, but I feel like probably not in the first season, but at some point I feel like because Fives is on the team and Fives knows Anakin, because he served under Anakin, that at some point, whether it's just in passing, they're going to be hiding somewhere and Darth Vader's going to walk by and he's going to say something that Fives is going to recognize as it being Anakin. Something small, but it's good. It has to happen.
That would be really cool if it did.
I would love that so much.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Something about the high ground.
Yeah, some sort of subtle reference to the high. I have the high ground now. Fives is like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Why does that half dead guy sound so familiar?
I've heard that voice before.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, the reason why they're not doing the intros, at least, so the guy who did it for the Clone Wars, the voice actor's name was Tom Kane, or is Tom Kane. Tom Kane unfortunately had a massive stroke, and it kind of paralyzed his vocal cords for a while. So I believe he's getting better. They're working towards it, but I don't think he's anywhere near back to being able to because he not only did that voice, he also did the voice of Yoda for the show as well. So it's going to be a while, I think, before Tom is able to resume those duties. Now, I don't know who they got to do it for the one episode so far in the Bad Batch, but I wish that they would have, whoever they got to do it was actually pretty good and close to Tom's voice.
It seemed like it was pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love for him to bring him. Just
could it have been something where they knew they were going to do Bad Batch and had it already recorded, or would that timeline not make sense?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But whoever did it, if it's not Tom, which I don't think it is, his voice I think is close enough that in separate series that you could tie it in pretty quickly and easily, and I think most people would. Because I'm like you, I liked that little introduction. That had the
it kind of set it up. You got that little adrenaline pumping, got your blood flowing a little bit.
Yeah. So one of the things I was most excited about was the inclusion of Captain Rex and having him come back into the show. I'm a big Captain Rex fan. So for me,
Captain Rex is the only one who. Because according to all the pictures, he's the one that shows up during after they blow up the Death Star and all that, and they're all celebrating. And they pan to an older person in the crowd. There's all that rumors that that's actually Captain Rex and all that. And so I feel like it was smart. Tim. I thought it was nice bringing it back just because there's all this lore and rumors about his involvement in the Rebel stuff later on. So it was kind of it was a nice little touch.
Yeah, so you have that. You also have, this is one of the things I appreciate a lot about the way that Filoni has done the Star Wars stuff is the tie-ins between, the previously made movies and what he's doing now. He finds a way to tie these things together.
Yeah.
And so we see that in The Mandalorian. We see that in Clone Wars. We see that clearly in Bad Batch. It was also in Rebels. I'm sure they might do it some in Resistance too, but I haven't watched Star Wars Resistance.
No, I haven't seen any of it. I've only seen bits and pieces of Rebels too.
I've watched the whole series of Rebels. My take on Clone Wars and Rebels is that you have to get through the first season. If you can get through the first season of both of those, that's the issue.
Okay, Rebels, I've never made it past the first season. I tried twice and couldn't do it, and haven't gone back since.
Yeah. And I was talking to my husband about it this weekend, and I'm like, I figured out what it is. I figured out why I don't watch them. I personally don't really like the animation style. I have trouble getting into the storyline because I'm so visually distracted.
Okay.
I liked Clone Wars animation style, but to me, Rebels seemed a little bit too cartoonish, and that's what kind of threw me off initially. Is that Clone Wars had more of a serious animation style, and then Rebels kind of turned it a little bit cartoonish.
They did. They tried to soften it up for a younger crowd a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what kind of threw me off for a little while.
But they once once the story gets going, I think it's in season 2. Nick can correct me here if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think it was like season 2 when they started bringing Thrawn in.
Yeah, and they started not only that, but then they started aging Ezra, and they changed Kanan's appearance, and they changed Ezra's appearance, and it made it and the writing got a little more intense, and the stories got a little more intense. But I think it's like the mid of season 2, wasn't it, when they started doing that?
Yeah, it was close to there.
I might have to get our shot things. I love Thrawn as a character in the Star Wars universe. Like, I've read like the miniseries comics on him, like some books on him and stuff. Like, it's such a rich, like here's you guys might. Sorry, I found this out. I read an article a couple days ago, pretty interesting about Clone Wars. And you guys, having watched Clone Wars, you'll probably catch this. So there's a line in one of the movies. I think it's in episode 2 or 3 where Anakin meets Grievous and says something along the lines of like, "Oh, I thought you'd be taller," or like there's some sort of line where it's like a subtle reference to they've never met. And I didn't realize that in Clone Wars they never are on the same screen together, and that's because of that one line that was said in the movies when they were writing the show. They were like told you can never have Anakin and Grievous meet because that'll contradict what we've said in the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus, that's like to try to keep track of that through like 8 years of a show is insane.
That's what I mean. There's a lot of these little things where you can see how they're paying such close attention to the movies that were already made, how they're tying them together, and yeah, absolutely.
What do you guys think about in Bad Batch the subtle kind of stuff that's happening to Wrecker with he keeps taking all the blows to the head, and his chip is starting to activate, like, so they're providing these little tidbits, like maybe it's not him, but at any moment any of them could just turn on the rest of the group.
And that's basically what happens with Wrecker. I mean, he gets one too many schmacks to the noggin, and it activates his chip, and he goes after Omega.
Didn't they take care of all that though already?
They do. They're able to sedate him and take his chip out, and then everything seems to be fine. But it also tells you that that not only is how deeply that chip is set, because like after he's done it, Wrecker even comments that I knew what I was doing, but I couldn't stop it. Was says, I think Wrecker's unaddressed brain pain was a good analogy for men ignoring health issues, mental health in particular. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, he just chooses not to say anything because he doesn't want them to think he's not Wrecker anymore.
Right, doesn't want to burden somebody.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the heavy of the group and the guy they can call on to smash and
he's their Incredible Hulk.
Yeah,
Wrecker smash. So, but yeah, and then so it makes me wonder if they're going to be able to bring Crosshair back. If they're going to be able to save him. We talked about this a little bit last week with Element 7 and Darth Chocolate talking about this whole topic, and Crosshairs is actually Choco's favorite, and he's hoping that they're going to be able to bring him back with the same type of process. But it looks like at the end of the episode, like the Empire was going to go shut down that facility, so they're probably going to have to find a new one.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to. I don't know if this show is going to go as long as Clone Wars, but I see at least a few seasons of Bad Batch. So I feel you don't want to bring Crosshair back. Maybe tease something, like the chip kind of like, because they're enhanced, maybe the chip kind of dilutes for a second, and he acts like Crosshair for a second. Like, I feel like you need to keep him at least for kind of addressed into season 2. And maybe kind of resolve in season 2 because they need time to kind of set up who's going to take over after Crosshair is essentially not the main villain anymore, or what route are they going to go with?
How are they going to set that up?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hoping that we're going to be able to see a little bit more. And now this is addressed really in Rebels, but because they're going to be kind of leading up to the same time frame, I'm kind of hoping that we're going to be able to see a little bit more of like the Inquisitors and I'm hoping that there's going to be a few more interactions with Kanan, Cheris somewhere along the way. That they're going to be able to show. But he's in hiding, so it's gonna be kind of hard to see.
I would love more Inquisitor stuff, because if you read the new Darth Vader run that Marvel Comics is doing right now, the Inquisitor stuff is so good. Like how Darth Vader acts around these Inquisitors and like what they were used for and some of the interactions that they had. So that wouldn't be a bad idea, like to bring in the head Inquisitor as a villain to take over for Crosshair. Like maybe that's what helps Crosshair, is he's not getting the job done. So they bring in this Inquisitor from Darth Vader to essentially take over. And so even when they save Crosshair, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe we stopped Crosshair from trying to kill us, but now we've got this Sith wielder trying to hunt us down,
right.
And we've got no Jedi left to back us up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, and I think at some point they also have to set things up to a point, because, like you said, I don't see this being a long run of series, but I do think we'll get 3-4 seasons out of it. But the biggest problem that we're going to have is that sometime before Rebels starts and leading up before Rogue One and New Hope, all these characters are going to get Rogue One. They all got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be your happy ending show where
no,
where like people move on. I mean, like maybe Omega or something, but like, because it wouldn't be hard for Star Wars to say one person like her survived and just became a hermit and just didn't do anything for the rest of her life, because it's a big universe. So you can easily hide somebody, one person. But for the rest of them, yeah, like it's not going to be a happy ending show, whether it's 3 or 4 seasons or whatever it is. They're going to go out with a blaze of glory, but whether it's Darth Vader or an Inquisitor or something, they are for sure going out.
But Star Wars is so good at making so that people are just hermits. Like,
yeah, at least for one of them. Like maybe it's like her and Hunter or something, but like that wouldn't be a bad idea to have Darth Vader be the one that takes them out, because they've already shown that they can bring him in small doses.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you brought him in on the very last episode, like the last 5 minutes of the last episode, and he just kills Wrecker and Tech and in fives and like just obliterates them all, and only like Hunter and Omega get away, you could accept that. You'd be like, yep, that makes sense. Hunter would be able to keep her hidden and keep them hidden for the rest of his life. And it does make sense that it took Darth Vader to just take out this crew.
All right, cool. All right, so hey, we've got about 2.5 minutes left here. Let's kind of wrap this up a little bit, and I want people to know, like we talked earlier in the show about your guys' show and where they can find you and things, and so first I want to say again, thank you guys for being on Funny Science Fiction tonight. We really appreciate you being here and sharing your opinions. But tell people about your upcoming episode and what they should look for on it.
Yeah, so we kind of this month we got some pretty cool stuff we're gonna do. For this Friday's episode will probably be one of our interviews that me and Devin have done. Last week, if you want to hear some stuff about, we covered E3 in last week's episode. So E3 just ended, which is like the big video game conference. If you're listening, you're not too sure. So we kind of covered our top moments from E3, and then our second bonus episode of the month, which will be the 29th. Which we're going to try to record pretty soon. We plan on doing an episode about why Ash Ketchum is the worst Pokemon trainer of all time. And so we're going to dive into a lot of the specifics of how many Pokemon he's either abandoned, given up, or just released for the dumbest reasons. Like just as a quick spoiler teaser, how he gives up Butterfree just so it can be in love for like, a Butterfree. I don't know. But it's like, when you really dive into it, like we started doing research, it was like mind blowing how many Pokemon he gave up for just abandon.
Which is ironic because the song is "Gotta Catch 'Em All."
Gotta catch them all, but not do anything with them.
Nice.
So I mean, we've kind of talked about it in a couple podcasts how we basically think Ash is a scumbag, and when he gives Professor Oak his Pokemon, that Pokemon's basically just sitting in a corner. And eventually we'll probably die in that Pokeball, and then there's just a big old nasty smell. So,
yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we'll have everybody make sure to check out Fandom Effect this week and see what you guys got coming up. As a reminder, this upcoming Friday, we too have an episode coming out. It will be with Jeffrey Weissman, who played George McFly in Back to the Future 2 and 3. And so you'll want to check that out. Full episode out this Friday on funny science fiction.
It was
So
such a fun interview.
yeah, it was good times. All right, guys, thanks again for being on, and to everyone who was watched tonight, thank you for participating and being part of the Funny Science Fiction podcast. On behalf of the rest of the hosts of Funny Science Fiction, we'd like to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on one of our future episodes, please contact us by means of our Facebook group, Funny Science Fiction. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FunnySci-Fi, or you can go to DraytonAllen.com and click the Contact Me link at the bottom of the page. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the episode.